The Philadelphia Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies. A franchise that was once a perennial contender, winning 2 Stanley Cups and making 6 Stanley Cup finals from 1974 to 1987. Now a shell of what it once was, winning only one playoff series in the last decade, all while burning through 4 different head coaches. Throughout their 54 seasons in the league, the Flyers don't have much to show for hardware, aside from back-to-back cups in 1974 and 75. Despite the franchise's shortcomings, the Flyers have only had 4 general managers in the last 30 years, including Chuck Fletcher, who has only delivered 1 playoff appearance in 4 seasons. With the franchise's captain gone, a head coach vacancy to fill, and a never-ending revolving door of goaltenders to be solved, Philly needs someone to right this ship. With GM Data and his team of assistant GMs on the market, Flyers ownership was quick to extend the offer, and we have accepted their call for help. Welcome to Philadelphia. How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome to our brand new franchise mode series here on NHL 22 with the Philadelphia Flyers, episode number 0, doing the franchise overview and year 0 simulation, as we'll be picking it up from where they are in the real world at the end of 2021-22, headed into 2022-23. In this episode, we'll do an overview of the franchise, its pieces, its draft picks, the players that we have already in the system, sim through that 2021-22 season and look forward to what kind of moves we'll make in the 2022 offseason, which is where we currently are in the present day. So we are here with the Philadelphia Flyers for all the reasons that I just listed before, as well as for the Flyers having won the vote for which team we would take over. It was down to the Flyers, Bruins, and Penguins. I'd still love to do these teams in the future. I know they had a lot of votes. Maybe we can do a live franchise mode during the summer. That would be fun. But for our YouTube series edited episodes, it's going to be the Philadelphia Flyers moving forward, likely the last of NHL 22 before we move on to NHL 23. In this series, we'll also have some created players that came from the Data 782 Fantasy Hockey League. We'll get to those a little bit later. But for now, let's get this party started. We're at the Wells Fargo Center, an arena that is 25 years old. We have, we're playing with owner mode off, but there's not a lot of patience from this team's owner in the real world, and importance of success is extremely important, as you can see by the 5 stars for success and only a 1.5 stars of patience. Our top players, Sean Couturier, Ryan Ellis, Ivan Provorov. We'll get into the personnel momentarily, but let's start with the settings and all that stuff to begin what we're going to be doing here. We're in the Metropolitan Division, playing against the Hurricanes, Blue Jackets, Devils, Islanders, Rangers, Penguins, and Capitals. We are the second lowest rated team in the division, so our job is definitely cut out for us. Going to the settings that we'll have here, as I always do, I have owner mode off, salary cap on, and I've adjusted the teams in the NHL to keep them cap compliant so that LTIR stuff doesn't bring contracts like, let's say, Austin Matthews down to like $9 million or John Tavares down to $1 million, stuff like that on teams that are a bit heavy when it comes to the salary cap. I never play with morale on. Unfortunately, it's a good idea, but I believe it's pretty broken. I've spoken about that a lot. And Fog of War as well. It's a good idea in theory, but I'm not a big fan of it. So it's pretty much a traditionalist franchise mode as always, if it is your first time being along with us here on the series. Everything else is taken care of by me and the assistant general managers, while always keeping it as realistic as possible. Moving into some other rules and settings. Period length 5 minutes whenever we go in to watch them. Authentic cap stuff, all that is on. Franchise mode length 25 years. Difficulty is on Superstar. Draft pick ownership is authentic. Salary cap on. Trade difficulty is hard. Waivers on. Fog of War off, as we said. Auto scouting only for pro scouting. I like to do all my own amateur scouting. Auto staff management is off. Other things like return warning only tell me when they're fully healed. Auto rotate the goalies, yes. Sim engine scoring is medium. Draft class quality and prospect and all that stuff is going to stay. Everything will stay at medium to start off. I do like to change it up as the years go on. Actually, I'll start it at low, and I'll tell you why later on, since we have the created players in the draft class. Then we also have, let's see, gameplay version is the latest. Waiver notifications on. And all that stuff on. Last thing off to touch is the sliders. I don't usually touch these In detail, if you're going in to watch the game or play the game, I would recommend touching these up quite a bit, but for simulation, I only want to bring down injury occurrence. 50 on 100 will be, you'll have to be changing lines every single day. I'm going to try it at 15 on 100. I usually play with it between maybe 12 and 18, but I'll start with it at 15 and we'll go from there. If injuries aren't happening enough or are happening too often, we can always play with it from there. Philadelphia Flyers, Eastern Conference, Metropolitan Division, GM Data at the helm. Let's start this career. So here we are at the beginning of our franchise mode. A few housekeeping things to do as always. First, we want to check out our coaching staff. Now, obviously, we know in the real world, John Tortorella just got signed on as the new head coach of the team, but he's not in this world, nor is he necessarily going to be hired by GM Data and Company, because, you know, look who's available in this imaginary free agency coach pool. We have Travis Jocelyn. A on the offense, A+ on the defense. I like this very much. You know, just replace Travis Jocelyn with one of the other names, Barry Trotz, whoever else is in the world, and he would be the guy that we would look at hiring. Currently has a 60% team fit with how the lines are set, but we still got to play with those. A-rated coach, B- associate, B- assistant. I like that very much. I doubt there's anyone better when it comes to the staff that's available. No, so I think we'll be sticking with this head coach absolutely. I will play around with the scouts. I'll, you know, fire some of the AHLs and hire more amateur scouts. I detail that in my scouting breakdown video on how to maximize your scouting AHL 22. So I'm not going to bring you through all of that, but I will take care of that off screen. Then go ahead and send out my scouts because we have quite the draft class in this next season, 2022, the draft being. We have some created players in here, so let's go ahead and meet them. In the real world last season, 2021-22, as always, we had the Data 72 Fantasy Hockey League, and the top 5 teams got created players in the next franchise mode, and now here we are today. Out of the 20 teams, I believe I finished in 8th place, so hey, not too bad. I believe I had a top 5 finish the year before, so I'll take 8th place. But finishing in 1st place was Corey, a big Buffalo Bills fan, and his created player is Josh Allen, a 6'5" centerman. He is medium franchise, 83 overall with all these X factors. He is a playmaking centerman with great puck skills, fantastic passing. He can also throw the body around as well with 89 checking, great offensive awareness at 89, good on the draw. He'll have to gain a bit more defensive prowess, and even shooting as well. He is a saucy, silky playmaker, and he'll be a great player who will be drafted in the 2022 draft by whoever wins the draft lottery. I considered putting these players in free agency. It would have been a bit more fair in terms of everyone gets a chance, but at the same time, it also comes down to which team has money and roster space to bring on that player, so not necessarily fair. So I said, let's just go with a lower draft class in year 1, and these prospects will also be there with Shane Wright and everybody else, so be a bit stronger for the top 10 in year number 1. Finishing in 2nd place was Michael. His player is Snoop Michael Oliver. This is a real wonky one for sure. 82 overall, medium elite, 6'9" power forward, 99 aggressiveness, 90 durability, 88 body checking, all that stuff, 4-star physical. 5-star shooting with the 97s on the accuracy. Defense is there as well. The skating isn't so much. 77 acceleration and speed. Offensive awareness down at 83. Poise. Everyone gets 80 poise, by the way. I did that across the board. Deking at 82, but the other puck skills at 88. Although this is the 2nd place player, this is a very, in terms of simulation ability, this may end up being the best one. 6'9", 288 pounds. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with, absolutely. So we'll see how Snoop Michael Oliver does. He has that elite potential, so probably won't go above Allen. But yeah, he is fierce. Finishing in 3rd place was Hobbsy, and Hobbsy created Heinz Berger. Heinz Berger, 82 overall, high top 6 potential. He is saucy as well. He has the mustard tape on the stick and the ketchup laces on his skates. 94 passing, 93 deking, really smooth out there. Pretty average everywhere else. Very strong physically though, with a 94 body checking, 88 strength, 88 offensive awareness, 6'1", 197 pounds. He is a right winger with those X Factor abilities as well. Finishing in 4th place was Lunchbox, who created Jeffrey Lebowski, I believe from The Big Lebowski. I've not seen that movie, but he loves it. 81 overall, medium starter, 6'1" goaltender with all of these attributes as you see here. He probably won't go as high since goalies don't go as high in the draft, but he will be a great piece for any team that wants to take a goalie who already has a strong overall and will be a starter, a real starter, already in the NHL, but a real starter within a couple of years. And finishing in 5th place was Wild Bronco, aka Scott, who created Fulton Reed from the Mighty Ducks series. 80 overall, medium top 4 defenseman, 6'3", 235. Puck skills, not so great. Skating, not so great. 99 slap shot and wrist shot power. 5-star physical and pretty strong 3.5-star defense as well. He wouldn't be the best player to play with, but simulation, he should be decent enough. He's a big boy who should grow, so Fulton Reed will be a great prospect as well. So there are the 5 created players who will be in the 2022 draft, which will be next episode. So here they are in the draft class. Josh Allen, Shane Wright is there, Stu Michael Oliver, Heinz Berger, Mathieu Savoie. This guy, Maddox Luongo, is a generated player. Then we got real guys coming up in the draft in the real world, like Kemmel, Jiricek, Geeky, Slavkovsky. That's all cool. Fulton Reed is there. And I'm not sure where the other created players are. Hold on, is this Tiny Morrison? No, Terrell Morrison. Shout out to Tiny Morrison from the Seattle Kraken franchise mode. If you haven't seen that series, you can catch up on the whole thing now that it's over. So the coaching staff is good. The scouts, I'll hire and fire some others on my own. Now let's check out what kind of team are we dealing with personnel-wise. What kind of overalls do we have at our disposal? Head coach, that will turn that off. So first line, it's going to be changed around, but it seems like we have our wingers as Joel Farabee, JVR, Travis Konechny, and Cam Atkinson within the top 6. Travis Konechny, start with him, 24 years of age, high top 6 potential. Listed as a second line forward, he is a two-way forward, 4.5-star puck skills. He has 4-star shooting as well, and he does usually simulate quite well. His contract situation is 4 more years. I'll always minus this one, actually, since we're about to simulate this year. So 3 more years at $5.5 million. He is centered by Sean Couturier, 28 years of age, elite potential, always a Selke candidate. He is a very strong two-way forward, 4-star shooting again, 4.5-star puck skills, but 5-star defense. He will be our first-line centerman for the very foreseeable future, especially with Claude Giroux now gone. On the left wing, Joel Farabee. He's 21 years of age, high top 6 potential. He should be a great candidate for growth. Once again, though, a top 6 forwards are not super, a two-way forwards, not super conducive to line chemistry, but that's the confines we have to play within. 3.5-star defense, 4-star shooting, 4-star puck skills, 88 offensive awareness. Second line, now we're getting, the contract situation, but he has a 6 or 7 year extension that's going to kick in, paying him $5 million per season, so he's signed on long term, and so is Sean Couturier, who will be making something like 7.75 for a very long time, so they're locked up. Second line, JVR, 32 years of age, 83 overall sniper, 4-star shooting, 86 offensive awareness. He's a big boy at 6'3". He is signed for 1 more year after this one at $7 million. He's been a hot and cold kind of guy. Second overall pick from the Flyers in 2007. Left the team, came back. He's been okay. In the real world, 2020 to 21, he was pretty good. 21 to 22, he was so-so. So we'll see how he does in this franchise mode. He's centered by Kevin Hayes. He's signed to a big deal, that's for sure. 4 more years at $7.145 million. A massive contract that really ties us up a little bit and restricts what we're able to do. He is a power forward, 6'5" centerman, 4-star shooting, all that good stuff. Cam Atkinson, 32 years of age, 5'8" sniper. He signed for 3 more years at $5.875. A lot of money's tied up already. That's the issue. 4-star shooting, 4-star puck skills, 90 deking, 88 offensive awareness. He's a fast skater. Not strong physically, but that's all right. Third line now, Owen Tippett, probably the biggest piece that came back in the Claude Giroux trade. He has medium top 6 potential. He's 22, he'll be 23. He's an 80 overall right now. He'll need a new contract. I don't believe he has an extension to kick in. He does fit our top line quite well if he could grow in the future. He's a sniper, 3.5-star shooting at the moment, 3.5-star puck skills, all that stuff. He'll have to grow. The Panthers drafted him 10th overall in 2017. Didn't really pan out. Hopefully he can thrive here in Philly. He's centered by Scott Lawton, who's been a great revelation for the Flyers as of late. Has top 6 potential, 27 years of age. He's signed for 4 more years at $3 million. That's a pretty nice contract. Fits well in the third line, so that's perfect. He's a two-way forward, 6'1", 4-star physical, 4-star defense as well, so that is very nice to see. And of course, everyone's favorite, Oscar Lindblom on the left wing, 6'2", low top 6 potential, 82 overall. Again, two-way forward, unfortunately. 3.5-star shooting and puck skills, and very much actually 3.5 everything except 3-star senses. So another guy who will be a candidate for growth, hopefully. On the fourth line, there's Noah Cates, who was a 5th-round pick in 2017, a grinder, 75 overall, all right. Nate Thompson, 36 years of age. His contract will be expiring. I don't know if we'll keep him moving into next season. And Zach McEwen as well, also a grinder. So this team will definitely look different in terms of personnel and growth heading into our actual first season, but there are the forwards at the moment. In the AHL, also in the system, we have Bobby Brink, who was a 2nd-round pick in 2019, 20-year-old playmaker, 5'8", already 4-star puck skills. He has medium top 6 potential. So the biggest draw to this team that we wanted to help fix it, aside from all the reasons I said at the beginning, was limited prospects. There's Bobby Brink, there's Isaac Ratcliffe, who hasn't really panned out. There's Morgan Frost, who's also here in the scratches, who hasn't really panned out. Aside from that, there's not really any forward prospects, and on defense, there's Cam York, and that is just about it. So Morgan Frost, I forgot to mention, medium top 6 potential, 22 years of age, 77 overall. I'll put him in the AHL for this season while we sim through this season. Back to the AHL, aside from Bobby Brink, there's Wade Allison, 23 with medium top 9 potential. Ryan Fitzgerald. Isaac Ratcliffe, he was a 2nd-round pick in 2017, 74, medium top 6 potential. We'll see if he can grow. Lachinsky here, he was a 6th-round pick. Nick Lappin, not really anything to grow here. Case, Kasha, Brown, Wilson. Matthew Strome, he has medium top 9 potential. 4th-round pick in 2017. Jackson Cates, he is undrafted, 75 overall, high bottom 6. Linus Sandin. Defensively now, in the NHL, we have Ivan Provorov at an 85 overall with low elite potential. He's the big dog in terms of who's going to be here longest. Ryan Ellis is the highest rated defenseman, but he is the oldest at 30 years of age of the guys who are the top guys. Low lead potential, two-way D, 88 defensive awareness, shot blocking, and stick checking. He can also score, 87 offensive awareness, so he fits the 2nd pair best, actually, so we'll have to keep that in mind. 7th overall pick in 2015. He's been with the team for quite a long time. He's paired with Ryan Ellis, who would have had a great season, I think, in 2021-22, but sat out almost entirely due to injury, almost the entirety of the season, that is. 30 years of age, 86 overall, signed for 5 more years at 6.25. By the way, Provorov signed for 3 more years at 6.75. So he's going to be getting paid for quite a while. 4-star shooting as well. Also a guy who can score, 89 offensive awareness, 89 defensive awareness, stick checking, all that good stuff. But again, fits best in the 2nd pair, so we'll see how we use him. +2 on the top pair, despite not fitting well, but they could have a +5 on the 2nd. Keep that in mind. Travis Sanheim, 83 overall, 25 years of age, medium top 4 deep potential, the 17th overall pick in 2014. At least the Flyers keep a lot of their guys, it seems like. Signed for 1 more year at 4.675. Again, fits best on the 2nd pair. He is, again, a two-way D, but has the ability to score. He's paired with Rasmus Ristolainen, 26 years of age, 6'4", high top 4 D potential. I changed this. This is the one change I made to the entire team. I believe he had medium elite potential. I changed it to high top 4. He won't be needing, I forget how many years he signed on for, but he does have an extension kicking in. So that'll be, once again, more money tied up. Fits best on the 3rd pair. All right. He blocks shots quite well. Only 87 shot blocking. Maybe it should be a bit higher, but he's a physical threat. In the NHL world, he's not too shabby. In the real world, he can be a bit of a defensive liability at times, but he's not too bad here. He checks, he blocks, he does what he has to do, and I'm looking forward to kind of revitalizing his career. On the 3rd pair, Keith Yandel, he's on an expiring deal. We'll see if he comes back. Offensive defenseman, 35, definitely going to be going down, but we'll see if he maintains his overall. This is Ronnie Attard. He is a 3rd-round pick from 2019. Low top 4 D potential at 75 overall. And, of course, there's Cam York, the Flyers' 1st-round pick in 2019. I believe he was picked 1 before Cole Caulfield, so that's something to keep in mind. 3 stars for most of these things. 3.5 defense, that's pretty solid. 20 years of age, he should grow nicely. and he'll need a new contract in a couple of years. He's signed for one more. In the AHL defense, looking at who's here, we got Connaughton, Clendenning. Yeah, not a lot. Linus Hogberg, 5th round pick, two-way D. Zamula, Igor Zamula, undrafted, 7th D potential. Yeah, not a ton to use here. Scratches in the AHL. Sushko, 4th round pick. Yeah, not a ton. Wiley, he has medium top 60 potential, 5th round pick. Tremola, he was a medium top 9, 2nd round pick. All right, so there are pieces. There are definitely pieces. It's just, are they going to be the pieces that grow and make this team a franchise, a dynasty type franchise? I don't know. I don't know just yet. But I also want to keep the contingency that we can't just dump everybody and start trading as well. We got to keep it realistic, as I said. Between the pipes, here's one of the biggest question marks of the series, because goaltending has been a revolving door, a carousel for years in Philadelphia. Steve Mason was probably their last really full-time starter. Before that, we're stretching back to like Ron Hextall. Carter Hart, he was drafted 2nd round of 2016. He's supposed to be the guy, but he has had his fair share of struggles. He has the medium league potential, so he can do it. Signed for 2 more years at 3.98. Hopefully he can be the guy for us. When he struggles, if and when he struggles, Martin Jones backs him up, signed only for 1 more year here, so he'll need a new deal if we do end up keeping him on. 80 overall, 31 years of age. So Carter Hart, we'll see what he does. In the AHL, there's Sandstrom, fringe starter. Urson here, who has medium backup potential. He's a 5th round pick. And then also Ustamenko, who has medium fringe starter potential. So some pieces, as we said, it's not like there's no one around. But I'm not just going to package up all these prospects and make ourselves a contending team right away. We got to play the cards as they have been dealt to us. When it comes to the draft pick situation, we have our own first in 2022, no second, then a 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. In 2023, we'll have our own first, no second again, but then 3 3rd round picks, 2 4th round picks, a 5th, a 6th, and a 7th. And then in 2024, we have Florida's 1st round pick as well as our own. And then from then on, it's just Philadelphia Flyer draft picks. At the moment, we have $3.415 million to play with. These are the current trade values on our team, if you're wondering what kind of value our players have. But moving into next season, when extensions also start to kick in, we'll only have $2.85 million to play with. Yikes. So that's already more than less than Owen Tippett's asking for, and forget signing anybody else. So that'll be difficult. We have under $3 million to play with next year. We'll have to probably think about shedding some contracts at the draft perhaps next season, but we'll keep all that in mind. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set the NHL and AHL lineup as I'd like them to look. I'm going to turn off injuries. I'm going to fire the scouts we got to fire, hire the scouts we got to hire, send them out to do their scouting. I'll take care of it over the course of the season, and then I will simulate the entirety of 2021-22 off screen. I'm going to make sure that we are not a playoff team. I'm not going to try and push for the bottom to get one of those created players or anything, but I'd like to finish as realistic as possible to where the Flyers actually finished in the real world. The Flyers finished 4th last in the NHL. I believe they're picking, 5th because of the draft lottery, but I'm just going to try and finish around 4, 5, 6. I'm not going to push for number 1, or if you're going for a fringe playoff team, I'm going to have to start benching people, but I'm just going to do my best to make it as realistic as possible. I'm going to do all of that off screen, and I'll come back to you when the 2021-22 regular season has reached its completion. So here we are now arriving at the end of the regular season. I did my best to make sure that we didn't do too well. I made the lines what I wanted them to be so that players would grow, but I also, in the last 10 games, I put Couturier on the 4th line to make sure that we tanked a little bit, and the results were exactly what I wanted. The top of the NHL is pretty weird. It's not too reflective of the actual 2021-22 season in the real world, but we, the Philadelphia Flyers, did finish 5th last in the league, exactly what we wanted. The Canadiens made the playoffs and stuff like that, so it's not going to be exact in the draft. I'm trying to play around with the picks, but, we'll just do the best that we can to keep it as realistic as possible. The Coyotes will probably pick 1, barring any changes in the draft lottery. If the Devils, who are supposed to pick 3, they'll pick, 2, they'll pick 3, and you have us picking 5. So we still have the draft lottery, see if anything else happens, but we're picking 5th just as we are in the real world in the 2022 NHL draft, so very happy to see that. But now we can simulate towards the draft. We don't need to look at player totals or anything like that. We can check out progress reports to see who grew in the AHL and things like that, but we don't need to actually look at the points since we don't really care about what just happened, and we're picking up the team. Now Chuck Fletcher has been fired after this season. GM data is picking up from here in May, June of 2022, and now we can sim towards the draft to see what kind of picks we'll be thinking about, what kind of trades we'll be thinking about, and already we'll need some advice from the assistant general manager. The Tampa Bay Lightning win the Stanley Cup, so here in EA land, the Lightning complete the three-peat in 2022, possibly reflective of the real world. Who knows? The Avalanche currently up 1-0 in their series. So in the draft lottery, Columbus goes from 9-1, which means we drop from 5-6. Not ideal, but maybe we can play around with that next episode. Maybe just trade an expiring contract to move back up to 5. Not a big deal. We'll see what we can do in that regard, if there is something that we can try to play around with. Retired players in the 2022 off-season. Tyler Bozak, Brandon Dubinsky, Matt Molson, a lot of the guys in the real world who weren't really playing anymore. But I see that Joe Thornton did not retire, so he'll be back for another season. Not sure if he'll be signed, and no goalies retiring either. So no big surprises there in the 2022 retirement class. Go through all these other things, pro scout, blah, 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 and here we are at the draft. So Tampa Bay Lightning win the Stanley Cup. Good for them. Now we're ready to take over. This is our first day at the office, June 23rd, 2022. GM Data and Company are here. So first things first, let's check out the progress reports over the course of this last season. Did we have players who grew, and will that kind of, I guess, impact who we decide to keep moving forward? So Ronnie Attard actually had great growth, and don't mind the X factors, as those are broken in the progress reports. He is 23 years of age, low top 4 D potential, now up to a 78 overall. So Ronnie Attard could definitely be an NHL player for us next season. Joel Farabee up to an 85, Owen Tippett up to an 82, and mind you, growth over the offseason may come as well. Provorov up to an 87, Morgan Frost from 77 to 79. He has that medium top 6 potential. Lindblom up to an 84, JVR down to an 82, Bobby Brink up to a 78, Konechny 85, Ellis 87. And again, these may even go down a bit. For example, like Ryan Ellis, he's probably, he had a good season, 16 goals, 33 assists. He may be back to 86 by the time next season begins. Couturier, Atkinson, Hayes, Sanheim, even Carter Hart, ooh, that hurts, all still at their overall versus line, etc. In the system, anyone else who grew, some other prospects who were here before we started, Matthew Strome up from a 69 to a 72, for example. Ratcliffe up to a 77. So a little bit of growth in the system, nothing crazy, but a little bit of growth for us, so we can keep all that in mind. Let's check out the draft class now. So whether we're picking 4th, 5th, or 6th, whatever it is, I would like to stay away from the created players, and that's probably more than okay, because there's some other great players out here. Josh Allen, the created player, will go first. Shane Wright will go second. Snoop Michael Oliver, Heinz Berger, a couple other created players. Then the generated player, Maddox Luongo. I may even keep the 6th overall pick, because going into the series, I wanted to take who I think the Flyers will take in the real world, and that is Matthew Savoie. I think they'll take him at 5th overall. Either him or maybe David Jiricek in the real world, but I really do see it being Matthew Savoie. So if we could take him even at 6, it's not a big deal then. No need to trade up to 5 to take the guy that we would get at 6 anyways. He could be the future centerman with Sean Couturier in the system. He's our guy moving forward, absolutely. But we're going to need someone to kind of be that number 3, number 2, and eventually number 1 centerman. I don't think we really have anyone in the system who could do that. Morgan Frost, I'm not sure. So Savoie playing in the WHL, he just had a 67-point season in 69 games. He's 1 year away, so he's probably, I'm not quite sure, he's probably like a low 70 overall with that medium elite potential. I wouldn't mind that at all. Kemmel also there as a sniper with medium elite potential. He's also 1 year away. David Jiricek, the defenseman. Slavkovsky's out here as well. Definitely a top 3 guy in the real world, but in NHL 22, I've never seen, this is my first time seeing him in the game, because when I started the Seattle series, he was not yet in the game. He's 2 years away though, so his overall is likely lower. Geeky, other real players, Brad Lambert, guys like that are out here. A lot of other created ones, like Karamaki's a real one. So that'll be interesting. So we do have our first round pick. Then we don't pick again until the 3rd round. So the scouts did their work. We don't have the greatest scouts just yet in year number 1, but I'll take a chance on some guys who are 2 bars medium elite, who are probably 3 bars low elite. We'll do some drafting next episode, and it's not a huge deal. figuring out who we're going to take right now. Like this guy, 3-bar low elite late. Like a guy like that is definitely someone we would take. But we don't need to think about that too much right now, as we'll get into the draft next episode. The biggest thing we got to think about are the players who are on their way out. At the draft, who are we thinking about moving? So all expiring here. Owen Tippett, for example, as we said earlier on, we have a little bit more to play with now due to the salary cap going up, and I believe, like, I don't know what else happened. I think Keith Yandel not coming back maybe, or maybe just the roster moves being played around with. But regardless, we do have more than I thought we were going to have. We have 8.85 to play with. So if Owen Tippett signs on for, let's say we get him, keep him as an RFA, 2 years, $2 million or whatever, we have about $6 million to play with. With that $6 million, we need to think about the main roster. Looking at the forwards next season, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That could be our top 6 right there. Are we okay with committing Lindblom in the top 6? Stuff like that? I'm not sure. Lawton, Tippett, JVR, line number 3. Frost, Allison, Brink on the 4th line, perhaps. That, we still have guys like Nate Thompson that might want to be on the team. Defensively, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. But if Yandel's likely gone, Attard comes into the lineup and he becomes number 6. York and Attard come into the lineup. We still keep Ristolainen, Sanheim, Provorov, and Ellis. Goaltending, do we re-sign Martin Jones? He is wanting like $1.5 million. We could do that, but if we don't, then we got to find somebody else. So we're not in a bad spot right now, but in the real world, I believe that the Flyers are going to be aggressive in free agency. I wouldn't be surprised if they even go after a guy like Nazem Kadri. So do we want to be players in free agency? And if we are, we're going to have to dump a contract like JVR, for example. Or, do we keep him because we want to have it more of a challenge? So potential upcoming UFAs, a lot of names here. Many of these guys will be re-signed by their team, but Giroux could hit free agency again. I doubt he comes back. Kadri could be there. Johnny Gaudreau could be there. A lot of names in the real world who could be out there. So keep all that in mind. Goaltending, Fleury's out there. Kemper, Campbell. A lot of different interesting names. And lastly, just looking at the draft board, if you want to see exactly where we're picking, it's pick number 6 at the moment, then round 3, pick 5, round 4, pick 5, and so on all the way down. So somewhere in the 70s, somewhere in the 90s, somewhere in the 130s. Those are going to be our other picks. Do we want to think about trading some of these picks away, trading for more picks? What is your recommendation as an assistant general manager? Because we've seen the roster, we've seen the players that we have, the ones that may grow, the tough contracts that we're dealing with, and the kind of tight financial situation. We don't want to just be taking over this team and maybe we're good in 5-6 years and some of these guys grow. No. Flyer fans want us to be competitive ASAP. That means making the playoffs next year and being cup contenders within 2, 3, 4 years. We've done that with other teams before, and I know we can do it again, but we have to do it as realistically as possible. That's where all of you come in as the assistant general managers. What are the moves that you would recommend? Once more, here are the trade values that we are dealing with after that first season comes to a conclusion. We do have some pieces, for sure. It's just that, are they going to grow? Who do we bank on? Who do we cut loose? And for what? Not necessarily names in particular, but what does the Philadelphia Flyers need most drastically? For example, I remember in our Minnesota Wild series, we figured out that our biggest need was a first-line centerman. We went out and got Sean Monahan. So what is our biggest need and how are we going to fill it? That's what I'm looking for from all of you down in the comments. And that does it for the introduction episode to our brand new franchise mode series. So if you are brand new to the channel, you're just finding it now, we do a lot of franchise modes here. We just finished the Seattle Kraken. There's a lot of other ones all the way from NHL 18 to NHL 22 right now if you want to catch up on those other series. So absolutely take a couple minutes to tour the channel. There's franchise modes, FIFA 22 career mode, NHL 07 dynasty mode, podcast style videos where we're breaking down the real world of hockey, and much, much more, including our Discord server where we talk a lot about your own franchise modes, questions that you have, the franchise mode series going on. You can leave suggestions on the server or down here in the comments, as well as everything else from A to Z. So we would love to have you join the team. The team would be that much stronger with you as a part of it. These franchise modes do not run without all of you. The assistant general managers have a huge role to play. I may be the one pressing the buttons, but it's not without all of you leaving your input. The hive mind comes together, and we've won a lot of Stanley Cups all together. So as I said, it would be that much stronger of a team with you being a part of it. So consider subscribing, leave a like if you're excited for this series, and I'm very excited to see what all of you have to say down here in the comments or over on the Discord server. I'll leave you with all of that. Very excited to turn the ship around here in Philadelphia. We absolutely have our work cut out for us. So it all starts next episode in the 2022 off season, picking up where we are in the real world. Very excited to see what all of you have to say, and looking forward to seeing you again in the next one.